My name is Darius Grant, I'm 43, and I own a handful of small, family-run restaurants here in Charlotte, North Carolina. We're not a big franchise, but the business keeps us comfortable. I have a wonderful wife, 2 kids I'm deeply proud of, and up until recently, things had been peaceful and steady. My son Jalen is 19, a first-year college student majoring in computer science. He's the type of kid who's quiet, respectful, and shy, especially around women. He's never caused trouble, never been the kind to sneak out at night or take risks. So when he came home one evening looking pale and rattled, I knew something was badly wrong. I caught part of a phone conversation, him saying, "I'm not the father and you're crazy." When I asked him about it, he broke down and told me everything. A former substitute teacher from his high school, Miss Danielle Rowe, was claiming he had gotten her pregnant. She told him he had 2 options, marry her or pay child support. And if he refused, she threatened to go public. Jalen swore nothing had ever happened between them. He said they'd never been alone together, never dated, and that she had only taught at his school for a few weeks during his senior year. I believed him. He's not a liar and not reckless. Still, the accusation was serious and could destroy his future. 3 days later, on a Saturday morning, Danielle showed up at our front door without warning. She stood there, clearly pregnant, arms crossed, and demanded to see Jalen. I told her he wasn't home and asked what exactly she was trying to do. That's when she exploded, claiming Jalen had ruined her life and needed to take responsibility, either by marrying her or facing a lawsuit. She even threatened to destroy our family if we fought back. I asked for proof, but she refused. When I brought up a paternity test, she laughed and accused me of trying to manipulate the process, even saying I probably owned the lab. Her story was all over the place, changing timelines, vague accusations, and not a single piece of evidence, no photos, messages, or witnesses. After she left, I called my lawyer, Craig Porter, a longtime friend of the family. He told me to document everything, get a court-ordered paternity test, and record every interaction. My wife Angela was furious and wanted to confront Danielle herself, but I convinced her we had to keep calm and be strategic. The harassment didn't stop. Texts, voicemails, emails, even an offer to drop the whole thing for $20,000. Then she made a mistake. She claimed Jalen had gotten her pregnant in April of his senior year. But that week, he'd been in Atlanta for a soccer tournament. We had photos, social media posts, and game stats proving it. His friend Isaac backed up the story too. Eventually, Danielle gave in to the DNA test, likely thinking we'd cave before it got that far. On the day of the test, she avoided eye contact with Jalen, who looked exhausted but determined. He did the swab without saying a word. The 10 days waiting for results were some of the longest of our lives. One evening, I got a threatening call from a man warning me to stop ruining Danielle's life. Instead of scaring me, it only made me more resolved. When the results finally came in, they showed a 0% chance Jalen was the father, not even remotely possible. The relief was indescribable. Jalen slumped in his chair and whispered, "Thank God." Angela burst into tears. I picked up the phone immediately and called my lawyer. It was time to go after her. Danielle had already been sent a cease and desist letter demanding she retract her lies and reimburse us for the legal fees we'd incurred. She ignored it completely. Then, one afternoon, she did something I could never have imagined. She slipped into my restaurant through the delivery entrance and cornered me near the kitchen. Her eyes were red, and she started crying, claiming I had ruined her life. I lost my job. The school suspended me, she said. Then she admitted that every accusation she had made against my son, Jalen, was false. And then came her outrageous offer. If you'd just given me a little money, none of this would have happened. That was the breaking point. I filed a police report for harassment and trespassing, and my attorney, Craig, began preparing a lawsuit for both defamation and extortion. As we started digging into her background, more of the truth emerged. The principal of the high school revealed Danielle had only worked there briefly as a substitute and had never even taught Jalen's classes. She had a history of odd, troubling behavior, and after an internal review, the school board fired her. We also discovered she was drowning in debt, facing eviction, and had multiple credit card lawsuits against her. This wasn't random. She had a pattern of going after families she thought had money. Jalan was just her latest target. At the hearing, Danielle arrived disheveled, with a public defender by her side. Her story changed yet again. First, she claimed some mystery man was involved. Then she admitted she had assumed Jalan was the father and panicked. The judge didn't buy it. He ruled in our favor, ordering her to pay damages, cover all legal fees, and pay a fine for filing false allegations. Her teaching license was revoked, and the district began a broader investigation into her conduct. I didn't feel sorry for her. She had tried to destroy my son's future, but Jalan came out stronger. He went back to school, his name cleared. To celebrate, my wife and I took him to our favorite Italian place for a quiet dinner and a toast to truth and resilience. Just when we thought it was all behind us, something unexpected happened. One night, as I was closing the restaurant, a delivery driver knocked at the back door with a manila envelope addressed to me, no return address. Inside was a hurriedly handwritten letter and a different DNA test, this one showing a 99.8% probability that another man was the father. The letter read, "*I can't keep quiet anymore. Danielle lied. She knew Jalan wasn't the father. The real dad is someone else. He refused to take responsibility, so she went after your son. She thought you had money. I'm sorry I didn't speak up sooner. I was scared of her too. She's dangerous. Craig and I immediately verified the test. It was legitimate, conducted at a clinic just one town over. The real father was identified as Ryan H., a married gym instructor who had been involved with Danielle. She had always known Jalan wasn't the father but chose to target him instead. With this new evidence, we updated our case and filed a criminal complaint. The police reopened the investigation, and this time it wasn't just a civil matter. Danielle was arrested and charged with filing false claims, attempted extortion, and obstruction of justice. Offered a plea deal, she finally admitted everything: how she had fabricated the relationship, targeted Jalan for money, and hoped we would pay to avoid public scandal. Ryan H. had refused to get involved, leaving her to pursue the scheme alone. By the time of the criminal trial, Danielle was unrecognizable, no makeup, a gray jumpsuit, completely deflated. She pleaded guilty. The judge sentenced her to 18 months of probation, 500 hours of community service, and a mandatory psychiatric evaluation, citing her long history of manipulation. She avoided prison, but her downfall was public and humiliating. Today, Jalan is 20 and thriving. He's made the dean's list, landed an internship at a software firm, and can finally focus on his future without the cloud of lies hanging over him. Occasionally, he asks me why she chose him. I always give him the same answer. She mistook your kindness for weakness. But she forgot, our family doesn't fold. We fight. Since then, my wife and I have become community advocates, teaching others how to protect themselves from false accusations, legal threats, and online harassment. We've already helped 2 other families avoid falling victim to similar scams. I'm no hero, but I am a father who refused to be bullied. We fought for the truth, and in the end, the truth won.